Yo, this is Pete the Kid Chocolate, and right now you rocking with Real Friends, Real Talk.
Face facts, what up, what up?
Real fans, realtalk.com. Where Arthur Diamonds, Trip Young, and intern Tom. For the white and black fans, Asia to Manhattan. I get all my facts from my bro, Mark the Stats, man. If you're not tuned in, I recommend the CAT scan. And if your brain checks out, then you deserve a backhand. Sports, gossip, all the hot topics. Real fans, realtalk.com got it. They got the hottest bloggers.
Did Jeremy Lin hurt?
Well, log on to the site and you can hear it from them first. I'm talking about the latest. I'm talking about the greatest. Go check out the archives. Even tell a neighbor. Tell him Bobby sent ya. From spring to winter, tuning in should be the only thing on your agenda. Certified co-sign, you know what I'm about, son. Real fans, realtalk.com. I'm out, what? Real fans, real talk. Real fans, real talk. Real fans, realtalk.com. Real fans, realtalk.com. Real fans, real talk. Real fans, real talk. Real fans, realtalk.com. Real fans, realtalk.com.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Trip Young. Welcome back to Real Fans, Real Talk. I'm in the studio by myself today, but that's only because we've been promising you guys that we were going to show you the videos, the interviews, the clips, everything from the RING10NY New York Charity Awards dinner that myself, Mark the Statman Skevich, and Ravishing Rose Claire went to a couple of weeks ago. If you guys forgot, Ring10, what they do is they raise money for retired boxers that are falling on hard times, and they've helped boxers like Riddick Bowe, Iran Barkley, Wilfred Benitez, so many great fighters, so many legends in the sport of boxing. So with that being said, we're just going to jump straight into the video.
I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to read this, because for me to try to do it from memory is going to be a big problem. Good afternoon, and I want to give you all a warm welcome. My name is Matt Ferrego. I'm the president of Ring10. I will keep this brief as possible. We have a full agenda, and we're really down to the minute, so we'll keep this moving. We're thrilled to have you all here in Ring10's third annual gala. When we had our first one 2 years ago, we thought, boy, we're breaking ground. Is this really going to make it and get on its feet? It is, and it does. And I appreciate that, all the support from the members and the fans. The fact that many of you traveled a long distance here serves as a reminder to us how important our work is. It's a beautiful day out, and 3 years ago when Ring10 was established. We were joined by a bunch of special people who got together and decided that we are going to help the fight brothers that we all enjoyed on the screen that need our help now. Not to just hand them money and say, here, take a gift, but to get them back on their feet if they need to be back on their feet. That's all we really do. That's our goal, is to get them self-supporting. We treat everyone who steps into the ring with the same respect, whether they were a world champion or not. Everyone has a tendency to look only to the future, the champs that are coming up. But Ring10 does not forget what made the sport of boxing what it is today. That is why we are not only honoring the present champs and the future champs, but also members of the fight world who have passed. Today we will pay homage to some of the greats of the Bronx. The Belois family, Mike, Steve, and Sal. And also Harry Balsamo. So this year, 2013, is dedicated to not only the champs that are here to helping us, but to the past members of the fight community that we want to remember in our hearts. Today is about enjoying ourselves. Let's celebrate our accomplishments, many of who have worked so hard to make this mission possible. On behalf of Ring10, I want to thank you all, and I want to mention just a couple of special people. Most important person to me, myself, is my wife, Nancy, in the back. I had a famous saying last year, I'll repeat it, but it probably won't come out as well. But if it wasn't for Nancy, it wouldn't be for Nancy. And that's because it threw me off last year. I'm a little more prepared. If it wasn't for my wife, I most likely would not be sitting here. So, and I'd not be running this organization. So I want to thank my wife with all my heart. Those cute boys back there who have normal noses that do not look like their father, my son Tyler and my son Dylan. And I do have a little daughter, she's not here, and I'm going to give her a nose just like mine. Our board, well actually, the man who designed the journal, he did the art, he designed the journal, and that's why it's sitting here. He actually finished it last night and picked it up last night. He's an amazing artist and a great fan and a great guy, John Panisi, over there, John. Give it a hand, John. Thank you. I also want to thank a gentleman named Russ Amber who designed those Ring 10 gloves that people are buying that says Ring 10. It's from Rivalware. It's probably one of the finest boxing equipment on the market. I don't know if Russ is here. He's not here right now. Hopefully he'll be here later. I want to thank Harold Lederman, our MC, for doing Harold is one of the greatest assets that Ring 10 has, both at the meetings, he very rarely ever misses a meeting, and both at the event. He's a treasure. Thank you, Harold. I thought that Daniela would be sitting here and I could make a big deal about him, but he's not. But I know everybody got a chance to see him, so I'm going to give a shout out to Daniela and thank him. We'll be in touch with them all year, and if we do another event before this year, before next year's event, we'll definitely have him back. I want to thank all our incredible guests at the dais. Nobody takes any money, just so that you understand that every fighter that is here has either bought a ticket, come at no charge, no charge at all, to lend their support to our cause. Our cause is helping fighters who are not as good a shape as these guys. And there are many of them out there, many of them with big names, many of them with small names. We don't distinguish between big or small. We basically go by if a guy enters the ring as a professional fighter and lasts a certain amount of fights, whether it's 3, 4, 5 fights, he's earned that respect that he is a warrior. And we give him that respect by how can we help you get back on your feet. That's our goal. That is our mission. I want to thank... That's for Ring 10, and I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm proud to say that Ring 10 is composed of a unique group of people and a wide range of backgrounds. We have trainers that are part of the club. We have fighters, obviously. We have cutmen. We have fans, referees, and we have writers. Some of our board, actually, this is our board president. We have Harold Lederman. We have Richie Schwartz. Richie, raise your hand. Where is Richie? He's here somewhere. I'm sorry, Richie's over there. Sharon Scrimmer, who is our treasurer and a big asset to this club. Sharon. Woo! We have Tyrone, the Harlem Butcher Jackson. When I say sit down and stop talking, and they don't, Tyrone stands up, people sit down and stop talking. Or I say, Butcher, done. We have one of the best authors, a very close friend of mine who I met many years ago, who I'm a huge fan. He's got quite a few books in the back. Everyone is a treat and a treasure. My personal favorite is the Tomato Can. That is, maybe it's more on my level of reading, but that was very basic. Not that I'm putting myself down, but I have trouble with the thicker books. It's a great book, Tomato Can, and all of them, but Ron Ross. Where is Ron? Oh, Ron Ross is here. We have another great guy from the Bronx who I asked something to get done. Johnny Zervos gets it done. Johnny Zervos. Johnny Zervos. I put him on the board. I love him being on the board, and in my opinion, he'll never leave the board. He's very ill. He cannot attend the meetings anymore, but I do get blessings from his family and from him. His name is Ed Gersh. This gentleman is new to Ring 10. We just recently brought him on. He's a big asset to the club. He's also a manufacturer of Spartanware. So if you see Spartanware, I think he was going to bring some stuff to purchase. High quality, fantastic stuff. And we're going to give out shorts for all of our guests here with their names on it, made by Spartanware. His name is Ed Post. Ed. Our last member is a former middleweight champion of the world who, a big name fighter, took him on as an easy fight. I'm cutting into Harold Lederman, and I'm not doing the best of job on it, but he is a big asset, and I know that if Tyrone can't take care of the situation, I'll say, Iran Barkley, can you help us out? I would like to encourage you all to have a look at the silent auction items on there. Most of them, Marlon, why did I get, no, my wife is conducting me. You're right. I was going to get to that one. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Sorry, guys. I get instructions all over the place. I want to encourage everybody to bid on the auctions. Everything has been donated, or these are all authentic items from fight people. There is a special item, a unique item over there. These are the hand wraps of Gennady Golovkin, who's the middleweight champion in the world. I sat in the corner with him that night that he fought that fighter, and I asked him to donate his hand wraps. Hand wraps, so that's pretty unique. Everybody's got a glove, everybody's got shorts and a shirt. Not too many people have hand wraps that actually were worn by the champion of the world and signed by the champion of the world. So if you get a chance, you want a unique item, I put it into a nice case. That's a unique item to have on there. These are the hand wraps and a picture by Gennady Golovkin. We have a 50-50 raffle going on. I know a couple people are out there trying to spew up some ticket sales for us. We also have a special raffle that'll be 3 items. So there'll be 3 different winners to the main event, to the grand prize. So if you could buy those, it would definitely be very helpful. Before I hand over the microphone to Mike, our VP, the Vice President of Ring 10, I want to say once more, on behalf of Ring 10, welcome. I want to thank Mike Bernard for all of his help throughout the year and all of the support that he's given this club. He's a great Vice President to have, and I hope he continues. And I want to thank you all for sharing this day. Enjoy today, and please come back in the future. Mike Bernard.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You're probably wondering why I'm up here. I don't have a famous face. I'm not as good looking as Iran Barkley. I'm a school teacher. Any school teachers in the audience? Raise your hand. No? How about a round of applause for the school teachers? Besides being a boxing fan, like all of us are, I didn't really know any boxers until about 25 years ago. The first boxer I ever met was Joe DeGuardi when he was an assistant DA. He came one day in the spring. One of our parents, who was a judge, brought him, and he gave a nice clean. Joe, you remember that? We didn't have any gray hair then, Joe, right? Okay. Now, but where boxing really came to my school, Villa Maria Academy is a Catholic school in the Bronx, kindergarten through 8th grade. For 13 years, it was the only school in the nation that ran an organized boxing program. Why? Not because of me, because I definitely wasn't a boxer. It was because of a Golden Glove boxer who lit up the Garden in the late 70s, Mike Trapani. Stand up, Mike. Stand up, Mike. Now, that is when I became a fan, and this is the reason why, and then I'll give it back to Harold. Mike used to always teach all of his students, that's kindergarten through 8th grade, that the first thing you do out on the street, if someone wants to fight, see if you can talk yourself out of it and get away. If you can't, like Ray Mancini and I were talking, then you have to defend yourself. So Mike would always try to give them courage. So he did that. My son Michael, who's almost 30 years old now, he was at Fordham Prep. Some of you know where Fordham Prep is. He was in a subway, and him and his buddy, and now he's almost 30, they got mugged. Two guys that mugged him had a knife. His friend at the time, North Face jackets were really, really popular. They snatched it from his friend, and they were both ready to cry. Michael was taking his off, and then all of a sudden the two muggers pushed him into a corner. And they had a weapon. What did Coach Trapani do? First of all, Michael said, I was running, and he was crying. He was a freshman or sophomore, but he was one of Coach Trapani's best boxers. What did he do? These guys were probably seniors in high school, thugs. He was scared. He was trying to take off his jacket. What does he do? He taps the guy right on the nose as hard as he could. Blood all over the place. All of a sudden, these two guys that thought they were tough, they were in shock. One of them dropped their knife. Blood all over. What did my son do? Exactly what Coach Trapani told him to do. He grabbed his friend and he got the hell out of there. And that's why I'm a boxing fan today. Thank you very much.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Trip Young, Real Fans, Real Talk. I'm back here at the Marina Del Rey, and I'm standing here with a good friend of mine, Mike Bernard, who is also the vice president of RING10NY New York. Now, Mike, we go back. We go way back, way back. But this is actually the second RING10NY event that myself and the stat man have been to. Tell me about the process of preparing for this event, because it takes a while for you guys to get everything together. So just tell me a little bit about the process.
Right. Anthony, thank you for interviewing me, by the way. When we end today, we start preparing for next year. And the first thing we do, we contact the champions to get them ready. So, because some of these champions like Boom Boom Mancini and Livingston Bramble, the big names, they fly all over the world still because they're doing pretty well as far as financially. Better than most, I should say. So we start today. And then what it is, it's not just myself or Matt, the president. It's a lot of people putting everything together to get ready for the RING10NY event, which will be our 4th year next year.
Now, tell me about some of the fighters that you guys have had come out to the charity event.
They're all wonderful. Barkley is the poster child for RING10NY. He was at the top of the world, went to the bottom of the world, and now he's someplace in between. But whether it's Barkley, Boom Boom Mancini, Livingston Bramble, whomever, they all want to come for the same reason. They help the boxers that aren't doing so well financially.
Now, you mentioned Barkley, another friend of the Real Fans Real Talk show, but you personally reached out to Barkley when he was in need, and you invited him to stay in your home. And that takes a lot for you to invite someone who's not family, to come and live in your home with your family. What was the reasoning behind that?
Anthony, Iran's been a friend of mine for almost 25 years. For 25 years, he's been coming to my school, Villa Maria Academy in the Bronx, and never said no one time. When I found out that he was homeless, my wife is a school teacher at PS 304 in the Bronx. She's the first one who said, you got to bring him home. He's our friend.
Okay, that's right. You got to listen to the wives. If you guys listening at home, the wife says something, it goes. But so again, and you guys meet the second Tuesday of every month at out here in the Bronx. You guys don't have your own office or anything like that, and actually all of the money goes towards the fighters that you are trying to help. How do you guys go about, in addition to the charity event, how do you guys go about raising money for the fighters?
This is the main, Anthony, fundraiser that we have for this event. And then we try to do other things, selling raffles throughout the year, having runs, having charity runs. But the main event is this one right here. We make some money with dues to Ring 10, but this is how we really make the most money. And every bit, 100% of the proceeds of this event and all events that we do, it goes right to the fighters and their families.
Okay, now how does one go about joining Ring 10?
All they have to do, in fact, I'll give you a number right now, 718-823-5083. That's my office number at my school. Call me, and I'll tell you exactly what they have to do. But they just have to come to the meeting the second Tuesday of each month at Reno's Italian Restaurant in the Bronx on Tremont Avenue.
And I've been to a couple of meetings. They do have some really good food. Now, how do you guys continue to improve on the success of the charity event each coming year?
This year, out of the 3 years that we've done it, this is the most we've ever had, by everybody just getting on the phone, asking people to come and help us out.
All right, thanks a lot. Mike Bernard, again, Vice President of Ring 10. Thanks for joining Real Fans Real Talk.
Thank you. Thank you.
So much for that. I first started Ray this afternoon. I fought for 11 years. He started July 1979 in Hartford, Connecticut. He had 45 wins, 27 by knockout, 6 losses, 1 draw. He's 54 years old. Had an amateur record of 97 wins, 13 losses. He was a great amateur. As a professional, he knocked out Mark Breland in 11 rounds to win the WBA welterweight title in 1987. He lost it on a very controversial fight to Thomas Molinaris when he was hit after the bell in a fight on HBO. He stopped the British kid, Lloyd Hunnigan, in 9 rounds to win the WBC welterweight title in 1989 at Caesars in Las Vegas. In 1990, he took on Michael Nunn for the middleweight title and lost it to Mirage in Las Vegas. And he lost in a WBC welterweight title fight to Maurice Blocker by majority decision in Reno, and that was his last fight. But like I said before, probably the second greatest fighter from the state of Connecticut. I love him, Marlon Starling. Oh, I forgot one thing. He holds two victories, not one but 2, over a guy that we all know. This is going to kill you. He beat the crap twice out of Floyd Mayweather Sr. Yeah, I was the judge in one of them, and I always said to Floyd, I said, how come you couldn't beat Marlon Starling? And Floyd would go, because I got shot in the leg. I said, if you didn't get shot in the leg, you weren't going to beat Marlon Starling. Anyway, Marlon, come on up here. You know, some guys get plaques, some guys get trophies, all guys get boxing trunks. So, Moochie, you get the set of trunks. Doesn't mean you're going to make a comeback, but we're giving you a set of trunks anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, if you never saw him fight, he could do it all. He fought great fights against Donald Curry twice. Like I say, for Mark Breland, he fought so many great fighters, and he was a great puncher. He moved great. He boxed great. He just was great. Marlon Starling.
Thank you. Well, I want to thank everybody for turning out today. It's a great acknowledgement that you guys came out. Once again, I was blessed, lucky, or whatever we want to call it, on the night I fought Mark Breland. I fought this guy, Mark Breland, and everybody told me how he was a sharp amateur. And I came back to the corner after maybe 2 rounds, and I told my cornerman, I said, you know, this guy's jab feels like most guys' right hands. You better check on him. Something in them gloves. But you know, God blessed me to win, like I said, a couple of world championships, and I'm honored for Ring to have me up here this year. I want to thank you all for coming out. Thank you.
Thank you, Marlon. Richie Schwartz. Wear them with pride. Thank you. That was a fight getting him to come up here. He was a busy guy, and I couldn't get a solid commitment until like last week if he's coming or not. but finally he worked it into his schedule. We love having him. He's the famous Marlon Starling.
Hey, it's Rose with Real Fans, Real Talk, and I have such a pleasure to have here Marlon, the Magic Man Starling with me. Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
So good. So great to have you here. How are you doing today?
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the festivities that New York is showing me today.
Yeah. Now, when did they tell you about this?
A guy called me about a couple of weeks ago, really.
Oh, yeah?
And I squeezed it into my schedule.
What? Oh, it was, sorry, okay. A lot of times I have to pull it away. Okay, sorry. So when did they tell you about this?
Well, I just found out about a week and a half ago.
Wow. And that was kind of a last minute thing for you, or?
A last minute thing, and I had a tough last Friday, Friday. But I managed because I'm a fighting guy.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, well, tell us a little bit about your history. Now, back in 1982, I'll take you way back. You fought Donald Curry and lost in 12 rounds, but then you really held it out in 1984 and lost in 15 rounds. And I mean, that was a tough opponent for you, wasn't it?
Oh, Donald Curry was one of the best welterweights around, and Marlon Starling wasn't bad himself.
Yeah, I mean, you've had so many great opponents, great matches. Of course, Mark Breland is here right now, who you were able to knock out. How did that go?
Well,
we know how it went, but.
Well, Mark, one of my toughest fights.
Sorry.
Okay.
Just open yourself up.
I got you.
Sorry. Okay.
One of the toughest fights in my career was was Mark Breland, because I really took a beating in that fight.
What happened with that?
I got hit a lot, and.
But you knocked him out too.
Yes, I did, and the good Lord gave me the fight.
Well, thank God for that. I'm sure. Yeah, this is Marlon Starling. Would you like to?
My name is Mark Breland.
Oh.
That's right. No, Aaron's over there. Aaron's right there. My name is Mark Breland. Nice
We were just talking about you.
Yeah, well, if he says something about my mama.
No, I don't do that.
Nice to meet you, Mark. We'll get to him later, maybe. We've interviewed him quite a bit, I believe, in the past, and now we get to interview the person who knocked him out. So.
That was like almost fighting a brother.
Yeah.
Because
I can tell.
Me and Mark is the best of. I really like the guy.
So were you guys friends before you had fought him?
I never. I wanted to hurt him, and when we fought the first time, I knocked him out. But I took a beating. I got hit with everything but the kitchen sink.
Wow.
And the next fight, they gave it a draw, but I believe I won. But Mark, since that period of time, me and Mark had become the best of friends.
Was there a lot of trash talking before the fights when you didn't really know him that well?
Yes, it was.
Was there anything that he said or did that made you really want to hurt him?
Being a top-ranked fighter.
Top-ranked fighter. Now I want to talk for a minute about Tomas Molinares. Did I say that right?
How do you know about that? No.
Tomas Molinares, there was a controversial fight. He clearly hit you after the bell rang. Now here at Real Fans, Real Talk, we cover tons of sports where we see errors by referees and umpires all the time, and that's what instant replay should be for or is for. But how did you feel about that when, everybody saw that he hit you after the bell rang, and yet they counted it as a knockout?
Well, during that time, you couldn't have told me right then and there I got knocked out, because I was knocked unconsciously.
You were knocked out.
I was.
But you couldn't be told that because you were unconscious.
Exactly.
Right.
So I know that was one of my better fights in my career, and it was something that I was taught: keep your hands up at all times, and I was too comfortable.
You got comfortable, but at the same time the bell rang. So were you able to kind of rise above that? Because it's something that as a fighter, your pride kind of takes a hit as well.
Well, not mine, because I know I was a winner, and I know that I didn't know nothing about that knockout. I believe I threw a punch at the end of the bell, and we still could have fought.
And then when did you guys really seal your friendship?
With who?
Oh, I just went back to Mark Breland. We'll cut that part out. You're not really friends with Tomas Molinares, are you?
Never was.
Never was, never will be.
No.
Maybe. Okay. So what about Mark Breland? Let's go back to that then. When did you guys start to become friends?
After the last fight.
After the last night when you said we don't have to fight each other again, we can like each other now.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
that's great.
You know,
What happened?
it was just, we just didn't, you know, I knew Shelly Finkel. Do you know who Shelly Finkel is?
Yes, of course.
Okay, I knew Shelly Finkel, and Shelly Finkel knew Mark Breland.
Yeah.
And I know, you know, I'm a good person. And I asked Shelly to give me his number, and the rest is history.
Wow. A whole circle of boxing friends is beautiful. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's so great to get to finally meet you, get to see you. What have you been doing? When you retired from boxing, was there any projects that you took on or anything that you were really interested in getting into besides raising your 3 children and maybe spending a little bit of time with your family?
Looking for some more pants like you got on.
They're called jeggings. We can get you a pair if you
What
want.
do you call them?
Jeggings. They're like jeans but leggings. Jeggings.
Are they really?
Yeah. They're jegging. Okay.
No, I don't want to pull you. I'm finished. No, see, this is what I don't like about women.
Okay, tell me what you don't like about women. We'll cut it if we don't like to hear it, but go ahead, tell us.
I'm a professional.
I know you are. We love you.
I would never touch you inappropriate.
He was feeling my jeggings. It's okay. I'm okay with it. I support this message.
I do.
Well, Marlon, the Magic Man Starling, thank you so much and really enjoy yourself. Great to have you here.
Thank you.
Oh, give me. Hug it out. Thanks so much, Marlon. Bye-bye.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just joining us, you are watching Real Fans, Real Talk. We're not live in the studio today, but again, that's because we promised you guys we were going to show you the interviews and the footage from the RING10NY New York charity event. We will be back in the studio live next week, but until then, we're going to jump back into this video.
I'm the champ. Give me back my microphone. You know, I was trying to introduce a few people before they started serving dinner out in the audience today. Table 13, one of the great stories in the history of sports. A man sitting there, I wanted to get up and take a bow. For those of you who don't know, he served 25 years in jail for murder he didn't commit in Poughkeepsie, New York. He came out, had one fight on HBO, and he won. Dewey Bozella. God bless you, Sean.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Trip Young. We are back at the Marina Del Rey for the RING10NY New York charity event. It's the 3rd annual. We were here last year. We came back, and I got a very important man here, Dewey. I gotta say this first because last year we didn't get a chance to interview you, but I went and I saw your documentary. I watched it, and I gotta say that it was an amazing documentary, and I personally was happy that you were able to accomplish everything that you accomplished after going through everything you went through. But could you just tell the Real Fans, Real Talk family about the struggle and how you kept yourself motivated and determined to overcome everything that you've been through?
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to thank God for giving me back my freedom. And second, you know, it took me 32 years to prove my innocence and close to 27 years behind the prison walls. I was locked up for a crime I didn't commit. They found out it wasn't me, and then I moved forward. You know, the case got dismissed. Once I got out, I got the chance to fight in the Chad Dawson-Bernard Hopkins fight out in Los Angeles, California, the Staples Center at the age of 52 years old. And I went out there and I won. I just wanted to make a statement. My statement was, you know, to never let no one kill your dreams. I wanted to feel like, you know, what it felt like to be a pro. And I accomplished that and I moved on, you know. So I get a chance to come to places like this where I can enjoy myself and be around real champions, you know, that have won the belt, and I feel very good about that.
Now, you actually had the opportunity. You could have been released earlier from prison than you were, but you maintained and you stuck to your guns because you knew that you were an innocent man. How hard was it to continue to fight when you knew that you could have came home had you pled guilty?
Well, I told myself I'd rather die than admit to something I didn't do. And I've been fighting the king since 1977. From 1977 all the way to 2009, that's how long it took me to get my freedom. You know, so it was very difficult, but at the end of the day, I had to ask myself a serious question. What's more important, you know? clearing my name or just getting back my freedom because they want me to cop out to the crime. I said, no, I'd rather die than admit to something I didn't do. And that was my commitment, you know. So they gave me, behind that, I received the Arthur Ashe Courage Award. Nelson Mandela had received it. Muhammad Ali had received it. You know, Billie Jean King, and a few other people, you know. And so what's so profound about it is that even though it may seem like it was hard, it was something that made me look at life from a different perspective. The first thing I went and I did, I got very educated. I went and got, you know, all the things that I needed to do while I was inside prison, all the way up to my master's degree. So, you know, I didn't waste my time. I did something with myself while I was in the inside.
Now, when you came home, the first time you went to get licensed, they denied you.
Absolutely.
Now you got a little set on there in the documentary. I saw you guys. It was real. It was kind of crazy. Well, you know, you fought through it. You didn't let that stop you. You went back on, and eventually they actually approved you to fight. And again, you fought on the Chad Dawson card. Now you also trained in Bernard Hopkins' gym for that fight. What was that like? Just, you know, working with Bernard Hopkins and knowing that he supported what you were doing.
Well, first of all, I'm very grateful for what Bernard Hopkins and Oscar De La Hoya did, and Danny Davis, you know, and everybody else that was working on the team. Rick, you know, it was just amazing, you know, because what happened is that me and Bernie was supposed to be one of the oldest guys to ever do it, and Bernie was a guy who gave me a chance with Oscar De La Hoya, and so you know, when they got me into their camp, you know, they helped me. Bernie said something to me that was very profound. Bernie said that, Dewey, whatever you do, when you go out in the ring and you have your fight, you know, pay no attention to the crowd. Pick your shots. And I listened to that, and I went out there, and that's exactly what I did, you know. In fact, I lost the first round. But then after that, I got loose. After I got loose, you know, I felt better about it, and I had a chance almost to take him out. You know, so that told me, you know, his words of wisdom is what helped me.
Now, you said that you lost the first round. I thought you looked good. You could look good throughout the entire fight. Now, I know you still got some. Look like you had some years left in you. Yeah. Is there another fight? Because I know Bernard is still fighting.
Yes.
All right, and I know he's the oldest champion now. Is there another fight in Dewey?
Nah. The reason is because, you know, I made a promise to President Barack Obama. President Barack Obama gave me a call, and he asked me, you know, he wished me luck on my fight, and then he asked me a question. He said, are you sure this is your first and last fight? And I told him, yes, it is. And I gave my word. So that's the only reason why, you know, I never took no more fights. You know, I was offered fights, but I said, nah. You know, I'm going to be a man of my word, and that's that.
What did that mean to you, getting a call directly from President Obama himself? Actually, that was on the documentary as well, where everybody heard the conversation. But what was that like to have that man call you?
Very shocking. That was the last thing in the world I suspected, especially after all the things that I went through. I wasn't suspecting that. It was absolutely amazing. I was happy that, you know, he even took the time to give me a phone call. And then just his word of encouragement, you know, to let me know I had to really step to my business. You know, so when I won the fight, I did what I was supposed to do. And that's what made it so encouraging. You know, because everybody else was saying, you know, it's not going to happen. You know, it can't be done. You know, like for instance, when you talk about when I went out there and they denied me, I was burnt. I was mad. I was mad because the simple fact is that, you know, you wasn't fair. And the way they went about doing it, you know. So when Bernard Hopkins and Oscar De La Hoya got involved, they the ones that helped to get me the door open for me to get the fight, you know. And I was proud that things turned out the way that it did. I didn't get hurt. I didn't get knocked out, you know, and things worked out just fine.
All right, so now first and last fight is in the books. You spoke to Obama. You trained with Bernard Hopkins. What's next?
Well, right now I got the Dewey Bozella Foundation is up. I would like to have some donations because I'm trying to get my own gym. Once I get my own gym up, I want to work with kids. I wanted them to have morals, obligation, responsibility, and discipline. And I want them to understand that, you know, if I can do it, you can do it. You know, let nobody tell you what you can't do. Don't let no one kill your dreams. Don't let nobody say that you're not qualified of making something better of yourself. That's my whole mission. And I don't care what nationality you are. I don't care where you come from. You know, everybody deserves a chance. Everybody deserves to let themselves know that this is what I can do. And that's what I want to do through boxing. I want them to see through boxing that, you know, anything can be done if you believe in yourself. Because we got close to over 7 billion people on the planet Earth. And you got maybe 1-2% of the whole world that will be able to have the courage to go into that arena. So to go into that arena, that tells you something about yourself. You know, so if you can just take that even as a workout and use it in your everyday activities, that'll let them see, yo, thank you, Lord. Thank you for giving me this courage. Thank you for giving me this understanding. I'm not asking you to be a pro. I'm not asking you to be an amateur. I'm just asking you to use this in your everyday activity so it can be a challenge that you can say to yourself, you know what? If I can do this, then nothing is impossible. Because people don't have the heart to do it. Many will come, but few will be chosen. That's the reason why you got so many few champions, you know. You got a lot of belts, but real champions, that's very hard to find.
All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It's Trip Young. I'm here with Dewey Bozella, and if you haven't already, you can go on Netflix and check out that documentary. It's an amazing, heartfelt documentary, and it shows a real story of struggle and dedication and overcome, and just the motivation to keep on going. Dewey, I appreciate you coming on to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right.
Yes, sir.
A guy who was the middleweight champion of the world, a terrific puncher. 53 years old last May, lives in the Bronx, turned pro in 1982 in Atlantic City. He won the WBC middleweight title in a fight I talked about before when he knocked out Tommy Hearns in the Ring magazine Upset of the Year in 1988. Knocked out Tommy in 3 rounds. He lost a split decision to Roberto Duran in 1989. In the 1989 Ring magazine Fight of the Year, he lost his WBC middleweight title in that fight. In August 1989, he lost the majority decision to Michael second to none in Reno for the IBF middleweight title. In 1992, he knocked out Darren Van Horn in 2 rounds at Madison Square Garden to win the IBF super middleweight title. That's 168 pounds. On March the 20th, 92, he won a split 12-round decision in Las Vegas over Tommy Hearns to win the WBA light heavyweight title. So our next honoree was a champion in 3 weight divisions: middleweight 168 pounds, middleweight 160 pounds, super middleweight 168 pounds, and light heavyweight 175 pounds. And he'll be famous forever for having 2 wins over the great Tommy Hearns. Let's have a nice hand for our second honoree today, the one and only Irene the Brave Barkley. Come on up here and get your trunks and say a few words to the fans, Irene. Talk about the Tommy Hearns fight.
Well, I want to thank y'all and thanks for the introduction. But like I said, I was the underdog. Nobody expected me to win, but only one to believe was me, God, my family. Thank you.
Thanks, Irene. Let me say, because Matt's going to come with a pair of trunks that we're going to give you. They're very valuable. We're giving them out instead of trophies. Irene Barkley's trunks got stolen. Matt Ferrago told me that Tommy Hearns stole the trunks. It's getting even with you. Tommy's walking around in Detroit somewhere looking for a rematch. Oh boy, I gotta tell you, funny world. Our next honoree, 47 years old. Oh, what a fighter this kid was. He was one of the great local fighters of all time. He was promoted by a guy at the end of the table, Joe DeGuardia. 44 wins, 17 by knockout, only 3 losses. He fought from August 1988 until September 1998, a period of about 10 years. He once won a 12-round decision over our guy, Tyrone the Harlem Butcher Jackson, in Yonkers in 1997. He only lost 3 fights, and to 3 very famous fighters. He lost to Sol Mamby, he lost to Felix Tito Trinidad, and at the Thomas and Mack in Las Vegas, which is the big stadium where the University of Nevada, Las Vegas plays basketball. He lost the junior middleweight title fight to Yuri Boy Campus. But as a pro, he won his first 17 fights, and to us New York fight fans, he provided more entertainment than any fighter I can think of. He beat Darryl Lattimore twice, he beat Harold Brazier, he beat Tyrone Jackson, he beat Glenwood, the real Beast Brown, and he beat Verno Phillips. Let's have a nice New York round of applause for our next honoree, Larry Bonds.
Good afternoon, everybody. The man to my right here and the man to my left here is the reason why I boxed for 10 years. They animated me in the 80s. You know, Boom Boom Mancini, I remember him losing to Alexis Aguirre the first time, then beating out Artie Frias in 83. I mean, I said, right then and there, I want to be a prize fighter. So if it wasn't for him and Lederman Bramble, I wouldn't be up here today being honored. And I'm so thrilled and grateful. And I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. Boom Boom, what you mean to me, Lederman, what you mean to me, you mean boxing. And boxing is everything. And if it wasn't for boxing, I would probably be dead or in the penitentiary. So I want to thank these guys for help saving my life. And thank you. Good night.
Hello everyone, I'm Mark the Statman Skevich from the award-winning sports talk show Real Fans Real Talk on realfansrealtalk.com. I'm here with the one and only Larry Barnes. Professional record of 44 wins, 3 losses, no draws. Larry, what made you get into the boxing career to begin with?
Just growing up watching fights, watching guys like some of my idols here today, Boom Boom Mancini, Lederman Bramble, Marlon Starling, Mark Breland. Those guys propelled me to want to do the sweet science of boxing, and they always had me animated, and they gave me a hard push to see that I could do this.
And now, during your career, before the Felix Trinidad fight, you didn't have a purse that took back more than $15,000. Do you feel that you were kind of robbed in a sense at the fact that you didn't get any of the big fights that you might have deserved?
Oh, most definitely. But you know what? That's boxing, and you know, you have a lot of sharks in the game. You know, you don't have a lot of honest people who care about you. But yeah, I do wish I could have got the real biggest purchase that the De La Hoyas got, that the Mayweathers got, but hey, it wasn't meant to be, so hey, it's another chapter in my life.
What are some of the fighters during your time that you wish you could have fought?
I wish I could have fought a number of guys, but the fights wasn't just out there for me. It was just play the waiting game. You know, when you play the waiting game, you know, things are gonna happen. So I had to fight who they had in front of me, which was Felix Trinidad.
And before Felix Trinidad, you won 39 of the past 40 fights, which kind of proves the point that you were winning fights. You deserved some of the big fights. You didn't get them. But like you said, that's part of the business. What made you get involved with the Ring10 charity?
Because Ring10 does so many things for so many former fighters who are not on their feet, who are down on one knee, and they just help them get off their feet, help them get on their feet and off their back, and help them know there's life after boxing. And you can still do anything you put your mind to.
And what's going on with you right now? What's next for Mr. Barnes?
Well, you know, I don't know what the man upstairs has in store for me, but I'm looking for positive things. I'm looking to propel young people into the sport of boxing, not just in the competitive aspect, but into a place where you can work hard and get something out of life that you want to work hard for.
All right, we have a big fight coming up. Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez. Who do you got?
Well, I'm with the man who's going to do the most things the right way. You know, they're both undefeated. Canelo can punch. Floyd can punch. Whoever gets hit the first and whoever goes down first, that's who I'm saying. But come next week, I'm looking for a very extravagant fight.
All right, well, there you have it, everyone. Mark the Statman Skevich with Larry Barnes. Thanks for coming on the program.
Thanks for having me.
Our next honoree this afternoon is somebody who really was one of my favorite fighters. Listen to this. The man is 6'2" tall. He was 110 wins and 1 loss as an amateur. Mark Breland had a professional record of 35 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, 25 knockouts. But I guess what he'll be most famous for in his amateur career, he won 5 New York Golden Gloves titles. I mean, that's just a feat that's absolutely unheard of. Nobody even comes close. And at the 1984 Olympics, he was a gold medal winner. Born May the 11th, his neighborhood was so tough that the Statue of Liberty had both. You didn't hear that? The Statue of Liberty had both hands held up. Anyway, he's deeply involved in the Mark Quillen Foundation, which seeks to advance the treatment of chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE, the progressive disease affecting people who have suffered multiple concussions. He lost his WBA title to the guy down there, Marlon Starling, and the referee was Tony Perez. So let's have a nice hand for a terrific fighter, a great guy, a fabulous entertainer, Mark Breland.
How you doing? I would like to thank Matt for helping, a lot of retired fighters, current fighters, and the whole RING10 affiliates. I started boxing. Well, when I was boxing, I used to watch Boom Boom Mancini and Livingston Bramble. First thing I said when I said, "You're not that old." No, you're not that old. First thing I asked Bramble when I seen him, I'm like, "You still mess with them snakes?" So I remember him with snakes all the time. No, not today. But it was a great thing with that Matt's doing, and I like the thing where all the fighters come together and we can have functions like this here, where you got Aaron Davis in the back, you got Marlon Starling on my left, two guys I didn't like. But I'm all right with them now. But that's the game of boxing. But I'm just glad to be here, and just want you all to enjoy yourselves. Thank you.
Let me just take a second. Guys, we have a 50-50 going around. It's not high yet. Where are my takers? She's over there.
Hey, it's Rose with Real Fans, Real Talk with the one and only Richie Schwartz, who is a well-known cutman for boxing matches. You want to explain to us what a cutman is?
Well, a cutman works the corner, tries to keep the fighter in the fight, keep him,
Cut. You take care of the cuts.
give him one more round. We take care of nosebleeds. We take care of swelling, any bleeding, any contusions. Try to keep him in the fight. Cutman is very crucial to the success of the fighter in the ring. And as I always say, it's good to have a cutman and not need one than to need one and not have one.
But do you think anybody has ever gone through a boxing match without needing one? I can't imagine.
Well, I've gone to trainers. I've gone to a number of trainers at the weigh-ins, and many of them say, well, I don't need a cutman because my fighter never gets cut. How he knows that, I don't know, but he's a very crucial person in the corner.
It kind of seems to me, right, it kind of seems to me like the pit crew, like for NASCAR, or like the driving, you have to kind of get in there, tweak everything, make sure that everything's okay, especially with all the hard fights. I can't imagine not needing it. I want a cut man just to walk down the streets of Manhattan with me.
Well, we also wrap hands. Some cutmen are very good with wrapping a fighter's hands, making sure that his bones don't break, That's very important. I mean, those are his money earners.
Now, that you have to have a lot of training, like with sports medical training, I would assume, to be able to do this with breakages and cuts and sprains and things. How were you prepared to do this?
Well, I taught health and physical education in New York City high school system for 33 years.
Oh,
so I taught first aid, I taught health, and basically what you're working in the corner is basically first aid.
Yeah.
There are three medications that we use. The main one that we use is adrenaline hydrochloride 1-1000, which is a vasoconstrictor, and most cutmen will use that. That controls the flow of blood in the capillaries. There's also Avatine, and we can also use thrombin, but those are the three medications that we're allowed to use. But
So you said the vasoconstrictor, meaning like, does it keep like kind of the blood thicker so it doesn't flow out too much? Or?
well, we apply it when you see a cut man apply a Q-tip, and I roll my own Q-tips. I make my own. You know, I don't buy them because they're too small, too skinny. But
so you make them thicker.
When you see a cut man apply a Q-tip in a cut, first he'll wipe it dry, apply the Q-tip, put maybe a 4x4 gauze over it, and apply direct pressure. He's applying the adrenaline hydrochloride. That's slowing the blood flow to the area, and then last 10-15 seconds in the corner, he'll put a smear of Vaseline on it, and that should pretty much control it, unless it's a really bad cut.
Now, does the Vaseline help the opponents kind of slip off, or is it just to control the blood?
The Vaseline is applied mainly to the face to prevent the skin from getting ripped. You know, when the glove hits the skin, it'll slide off rather than ripping the skin.
Wow, I should try that too for going down the streets, fighting for a taxi.
If you need a good cut man, let me give you my card.
Okay, good. Next time I'm trying to get a taxi, I'll make sure I have you with me. So I'm like, mine.
I gave this card to Chuck Wepner at Emil Griffith's wake, and I went over to him and I asked him if you're ever in need of a good cut man, give me a call, because he was known as the Bayonne Bleeder.
Oh, there we go. So tell me, who was your favorite person to work for? Favorite boxer?
Well, I worked for Otis Griffin, Zach Page. Usually I wind up working with guys that are flying in from out of town.
Yeah. And what was your most gruesome fight and your toughest? What was your toughest injury to repair?
Basically just a bad cut over the eye, which I was able to control. Yeah.
Any gruesome, gory details you can share with us?
No, nothing like what you see in MMA.
Yeah.
You know, in MMA, the injuries are more severe, and usually dealing with a lot of scalp wounds that bleed profusely. But Stitch Duran, who I know is, he works MMA, he works boxing. He's Vladimir Klitschko's cut man, and he uses adrenaline hydrochloride, and they pack usually a lot of Vaseline into the scalp wound, and that pretty much gets it under control.
Are there any dangers with using like the hydrochloride that, constricting the vessels for too long or anything?
No. No, it's applied on the skin, not internally.
Topical.
Anyway,
oh yeah, no, you go. Let's just look at your card here. Is Richie Schwartz. Sorry, you're so interesting. I love this stuff.
My job is crucial to a fighter's success in the ring.
His job is crucial to a fighter's success in the ring. There you go. Okay, thank you so much, Ricky.
Give me a call.
We will. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy your...
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap for this week's episode. I know there's a couple of more interviews that we didn't get to, but there's only but so much that we could squeeze into an hour. But do not worry, we will be back next week live. And whatever interviews we didn't get to today, we will get to them next week. I'll be back. Statman will be back. Ravishing Rose Claire will be back. And, of course, Sean Fontaine will be back next week right here live on BronxNet. In the meantime, check us out on the web, realfansrealtalk.com. Check us out this Sunday night on the radio again at realfansrealtalk.com, live 7:30 p.m., and we'll see you next week.
Face facts, what up, what up?
RealFansRealTalk.com, where Arthur Diamonds, Trip Young, and intern Tom. For the white and black fans, Asia to Manhattan, I get all my facts from my bro Mark the Stats Man. If you're not tuned in, I recommend the CAT scan. And if your brain checks out, then you deserve a backhand. Sports, gossip, all the hot topics. RealFansRealTalk.com got it. They got the hottest bloggers.
Is Jeremy Lin hurt?
Well, log onto the site and you can hear it from them first. I'm talking about the latest, I'm talking about the greatest. Go check out the archives, even tell a neighbor, tell them Bobby sent ya. From spring to winter, tuning in should be the only thing on your agenda. Certified cosign, you know what I'm about, son. RealFansRealTalk.com, I'm out one. Real fans, real talk, real fans, real talk. RealFansRealTalk.com, RealFansRealTalk.com. Real fans, real talk, real fans.